Bend over to your right.
What the was that?
What's up, Bears fans?
People want to hear me talk.
What's going on, Bears fans? And welcome to another episode of the Nicholas Moriano Show. I'm your host, Nicholas Moriano. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. It's been a while since I've actually done a live show. I feel like, I don't know, I've just been doing a bunch of YouTube shorts, hanging out with David Kaplan. I don't know. I still have my show, though. And I just felt like talking Bears Friday night. Why not? It's cold as hell out there, and I'd rather be in here talking Bears. So keeping this really casual, you guys. I literally have a beer in hand. What do we got? We got the Goose Island. We got the big, juicy Beer Hug Imperial IPA. Used to be really big into IPAs. Now, not so much. But I'm going to crack open one of these and just hang out. Like I said, if you saw I tweeted out, like, talk about this week 15 matchup between the Bears and Cleveland Browns. Is this really a trap game? I don't really see it that way. And then anything else, depending on who's in the comments, who's hanging out. Won't be here for too long. I'm going to go hang out with some buddies from out of town in a little bit. But figure just jump on here, just talk into the abyss, the whatever this is, those Twitter, YouTube live streams. But yeah, I put that headline in the YouTube title, is this a trap game? Because the more and more I watch the Cleveland Browns, just the last 2 weeks, I just don't really think this game's going to be all that close. I don't know if that's me being naive or me just having confidence that the Bears are going to take care of business as they should, being a 7.5-point favorite in what's supposed to be a frigid, cold day at Soldier Field on Sunday on the lakefront. I just don't know if this is going to be all that close of a game. I get it. You have Myles Garrett on defense. You have some pretty good defensive players over there. The rookie linebackers playing phenomenal. But the more I just watched even last week's game that the Browns lost, 31-29 to the Tennessee Titans. I think the week before that was the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know. I just see flaws, or I see opportunities, I should say, in what the Bears can do, especially on the ground. I think that's where this optimism, not even optimism, maybe even confidence is the right word, of what the Bears can do against the Cleveland Browns. When you look at Tony Pollard, even Tajay Spears had a couple of runs. What they did last week in Cleveland, a lot of wide zone stuff, you guys. A lot of stuff where you're getting out on the edge. You're hitting that B gap. You're letting your blockers get up to the second level. Then you're just making moves and honestly just outrunning people in the secondary, the linebacker level. And I don't know. I just envision Kyle Monangai. I envision DeAndre Swift doing the same thing. I like the way that this Bears offensive line is blocking things up front. I like how they're playing together. And if they build off of what they did in the second half against the Green Bay Packers, then they're going to be just fine. And actually, you know what? I'm going to reference one of my articles I just wrote for the Marquee Sports Network, because the Bears are a completely different team when they're at home compared to when they're on the road in terms of starting faster. They used to actually, the beginning of the season, they were scoring points relatively high, starting games. And I'm trying to find the exact stat here. Here we go. Per teamrankings.com, the Bears have averaged 7.6 points per game at home in the first quarter. That's the second most in the NFL. And 15.6 points per game in the first half. That's the fifth most. The Bears are going to be at Soldier Field in 3 of their last 4 games. So a place where, again, they've had quicker starts. Just more in the routine of things. You know what to expect, not going on the road, not having to deal with hostile environments, got to go silent count. That's not the case. That's what the Cleveland Browns are going to have to do, because I still expect, even though it's going to be frigid cold, maybe negative 20 degree wind chill, I expect all you Bears fans to be there. I expect it to be loud at Soldier Field. Kevin Byard was talking about it earlier in the week. That's an advantage that the Bears clearly have, just having that home field crowd. So if you're there, let me know if you're going. Put in the comments here, but bring that energy, man. I'm gonna try to get outside and just kind of soak in the elements, I guess, when I'm at the game covering the game there on Sunday at Soldier Field. But I do want to see what it's like, because I can't imagine playing a game in that cold of weather and just what it's like to take a hit. Because I just remember even like high school days when it got into late October, November, and you would get hit, and you're I don't know, depending where you got hit or tackled, arm would go a little numb. Your ribs would hurt a little bit more, your quads, whatever it may be. And these are people that are Myles Garrett size and going full speed and just laying down the wood. Like, man, they're different. And that's why they get paid what they get paid and what they do at the highest of levels here. But I just look at this game still, and I look at that rushing attack that the Bears do have. That is the number 2 rushing team in the NFL, just behind the Buffalo Bills. And what they could do on Sunday. I don't know if it's going to be a Cincinnati Bengals type of performance. I don't know if it's going to be a Philadelphia Eagles type of performance. But I just have a lot of confidence they're going to be able to establish the ground game. And they're going to go to it a lot, as they should. You can run at Myles Garrett. One of the best ways to mitigate a pass rusher like Myles Garrett, who had 20 sacks on the season, insane number, three sacks away from the sack record from Michael Strahan and TJ Watt. But you run at him. You run away from him. You just got to keep him honest. You can't be in those obvious passing situations, because that's where a guy like Myles Garrett, no matter who's blocking him, if you have a double team, a chip, he finds a way, especially if you give him those opportunities in obvious passing situations. Okay, I opened up this beer at the beginning of the episode. I'm 8 minutes in? I haven't even taken a sip yet, so give me a sec here. That is the big juicy beer hug. It's not bad. I was a big fan, like I said in the beginning of the show. Like, I don't know why my uncle got me into IPAs. Like, it went from like a Miller Lite, Coors Light IPA. I don't know. That's like the Bears jumping from last year to this year in terms of like beers, I guess. Not even the light beers, just boom, IPA. Good beer. But I see that the rushing attack being effective. And then for people who didn't hear Ben Johnson's press conference today, a lot of questions this week about starting faster, Caleb getting how to get him more accurate in the beginning of games, things like that. And paraphrasing here what Ben Johnson said, and he wasn't giving an excuse to Caleb in the completion percentage and some of the passes that have been off, because there are definitely times where he just needs to make those passes. But he also said that there's just more being put on his plates, essentially, where he's having more of a responsibility of the shifts and motions. So all these things he's thinking about pre-snap, he said, are, carry over and going to affect him post-snap. But because Caleb is getting that part of it, the pre-snap stuff down and allowing the offense to operate effectively, that's helping out the rushing attack. He's, I think, capable of checking into something because he sees what the defense is bringing. But then, just more that he's thinking about it, it's slowing him down. The worst thing a football player can be is thinking too much, I should say. Not thinking, but just thinking too much. And even on the interception to or the throw intended to Cole Kmet at the end of the Packers game, what did Caleb say? Like, thinking a little bit too much. You want to be very decisive with everything that you do in a football field. And if you're going to do it wrong at 110%. That's what my high school coaches always used to say. And that is definitely true, at the higher levels as well, because a player that's playing slow is just not as effective. That's just how I look at it. I don't know how other people do, but that makes sense in my eyes. But I thought it was interesting what Ben had to say about that, but that doesn't excuse Caleb from some of the we'll just call them layups, right? We'll call them because there's been a lot of basketball analogies this week from Caleb Williams. Accidentally brought up Kobe, Utah. I don't know that. Don't even want to get too much into that, but just needs to start hitting those layups. And that's what he also said too on that would have been, was that Wednesday or Thursday? Today's Friday. That would have been Wednesday's press conference where, to get in a rhythm, you just got to see that first basket going, get that first completion, whether that's a screen, a slant, an out route, whatever, or a deeper pass. Like Caleb doesn't want Ben to feel obligated to give him, I guess, easier types of throws if that's not what he's feeling. It's the whole playbook should be open. And I do like that from Caleb, that confidence that he has in himself, but we do need to see that, right? You do want to see the completion start stacking up so that it just feels like he's in a rhythm. Like the rushing attack needs to get in a rhythm. Like that, I feel like it's very similar. You get back more reps, gets a better feel for the game. I spoke to Kyle Monungai yesterday in the locker room, and I think that's a guy too that the more reps he gets, the more comfortable he feels in games, the more capable he is of not going down from that first ball carrier, always looking to create yards after contact. Similar to me. So you just need to see how, Caleb can get those faster starts because they do that against the Browns. I don't really think this is going to, like I said, I don't think this is a trap game. I could be completely wrong, look like an idiot after this video, but I just don't see it that way. The Devil Dog 1991. The Bears are going to destroy the Browns. For the first time in months, Bears fans will be able to watch a game stress-free. The Devil Dog 1991, I kind of am feeling similar to you. Maybe it'll be, somewhat like a 3-3, 6-3 ball game like initially, but I feel like this is going to be one of those games where people who do go to this game walk out of there, hopefully walk out with all your appendages, everything. And they're like, yeah, the Bears took care of business against a football team that already has double-digit losses going into week 15. Isn't that weird too? The Bears are not a part of that equation. No double-digit losses at this point in the season. Not this year. But here's an interesting stat, and I love using pro.nfl.com that uses next-gen stats to just keep you informed on everything. Everything. This is a stat that I think is going to be really important to this game. Whichever team does better in this stat specifically is going to win. Actually, I think the Bears are going to win regardless. But here it is. It's about Shedeur Sanders, who I will say in that game against the Titans, he made some great throws. The throw to David Njoku, back left corner in the end zone, beautiful ball. Nice touch, kind of off the back foot, right where Njoku can make the catch, and he won't be playing Njoku in this game. Loss for the Browns, but beautiful ball. If you give Shedeur time, I think he's capable of making some of those passes. However, here's a stat, and I'll take a drink before, I think is really big in this football game. So one break really quickly. Again, juicy IPA. Here it is. This one's interesting too. On throws behind the line of scrimmage, Shedeur Sanders has totaled plus or positive 5.1 EPA, the sixth highest mark in the NFL. And you saw that. You saw that even going back to the 49ers game. Some of these passes horizontally, checkdowns. There was a big screen pass to Junkins. Quinshon Junkins, the rookie running back who actually leads the NFL among rookie running backs in rushing yards. A pass over there. Went for a nice gain. So sixth highest mark on throws behind the line of scrimmage. Now on all other throws, his negative 17.9 EPA is fourth lowest among quarterbacks. On throws past the line of scrimmage, intercepted the most passes, 18, but are also tied for the most touchdowns allowed, 27. You see how this goes hand in hand here? the further Shedeur throws downfield, the more likelihood things are to go awry for the Browns offense and are capable of going in a positive direction for the Bears defense. But also at the same time, you can give up touchdowns. Reference the game against Green Bay, some of those explosive passing plays, but then also CJ Gardner-Johnson's interception. Jekyll and Hyde, kind of almost with this Bears defense. But I think what's going to be big is the Bears' ability to rally and tackle on some of those shorter passes at or behind the line of scrimmage. You make those things happen. You get Shedeur Sanders, his Browns offense, in third and long situations where the Bears like to play, you'll be in a good spot. But I think that's a key stat right there. And when I identified him, like, man, that's going to be a big one here. Timeout. We are going to pause the show because we have a super chat here. It's from our NFL Fan of the Year representative, Jonathan Otten, 113, a $10 super chat. Appreciate Jonathan. I'm going to just give it right back to you. What's up, everyone? Super happy to catch a live show. Bears are going to win, and it won't be close. Love the show, Nick. Jonathan Otten, we love you. And for everybody that's watching, we'll watch tomorrow. And for whatever reason, my Twitter DMs have just been, I've been deleting my app like constantly, but Jonathan needs your guys' help to help him, one, just win the NFL Fan of the Year and represent the Chicago Bears. But I think this is a great opportunity for people who haven't already voted to definitely go do so. And Jonathan, if you're in the chat too, put it up on here and then I'll put it up on screen. But look, any publicity that we can give to Jonathan to help him out on this awesome, like once in a lifetime kind of thing, we got to help him out. We got to build up and, support our Bears fans here. But Jonathan, if you're in the chat, make sure to put that, at least type out the link. But I mean, I'll find it here too, but NFL.com Fan of the Year voting. So yeah, if you just go to, I just went to NFL.com, NFL Fan of the Year contest, and it brings you up right there. So if you do that, you already know who you're going to go vote for. It's Jonathan Otten. If you are on this channel, you're going to vote for Jonathan Otten. You have no other freaking choice. But go do that. Let's see where we can get Jonathan on this awesome just quest that he's on to represent the Chicago Bears Fan of the Year. I was so hyped to see that happen too. So hyped. But Jonathan, you are the man. Always have been. He's always been a supporter of not only this show, go back to the Chicago Audible, throwback to the Bears brothers. Jonathan's a day one. So Jonathan, you're the man. You're the man. I wish you the best of luck and can't wait to see where you end up going here. Of course, we'll all be watching. We will all be watching. There it is. Get you on there. Thanks, guys. No limits on voting. Goes through February 4th. That is my uncle's birthday. My uncle that got me into the Chicago Bears. And I always think of that day too, because sad times. Everyone take a drink. Bears also Colts, I think February 4th. My uncle cried that day. I don't know if he wants me to share that story, but I'll never forget that day. From then on until I got old enough to cover the Bears, like I hated the Colts, literally hated them for what they did, especially how that game started with Devin Hester's kick return touchdown. But Colts, Phillip Rivers, 44, grandfather, playing football. Weird. That was a weird sequence of words. But here, let's do this really quick. Let's get into a quick break. Like I said, I'm not going to be going forever here. Got to head out here, having a little pregame drink. But let's, I haven't even, you see, how am I a rookie? I haven't even put my own logo up the entire show. It's just me talking into a screen or my lower third. God, rookie. But now we're going to take off this, my logo and put a more important one on there. One that, but it's Windy City Sports Cards. And of course, Windy City Sports Cards, they specialize in buying and selling all things related to Chicago sports. So whether you're a diehard fan of the Bears, Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, or where's my Blackhawks shirt that I just got? I don't even know where I put it. They've got you covered with an extensive selection of sports memorabilia and collectibles. In addition to those Chicago-focused items, everybody, they also offer a vast collection of sports trading cards and memorabilia from your favorite teams and, of course, your favorite players. So visit their online store to find exactly what you're looking for to complete your collection or to simply discover a new favorite. You can check them out at 312-WindyCitySportsCards.com. That's 312-WindyCitySportsCards.com. Losing my voice. But I'm Nicholas Moriano. You're watching just Friday night hangout of the Nicholas Moriano Show. So, guys, like I said, trap game, not so much against the Cleveland Browns. I really don't see it that way. So this game could get interesting if the Bears can't establish the run, and then you do have to rely on your passing attack. Roman Dunze is questionable going into this game. I don't know if the Bears are going to lean on being a little bit more conservative in this one, or are they going to have him go out there and play? Don't know. But that's where it can get interesting if the Bears can't establish the run, and then you do have to rely on your passing game, and you have to be more consistent. You have to start off quicker, and just establish, like I said earlier, a rhythm. You do that, and if you're able to establish a rhythm in the passing game, that's also going to make it tough on guys like Myles Garrett to tee off on you as you're, trying to establish some offense. But even as cold as it's going to be, as good of a pass rusher as Myles Garrett is, and just those factors, I still just don't. Carson Swessinger, linebacker. I remember watching UCLA, right? Is he the UCLA? Yep. I remember watching his tape. He's a good football player too. I like watching him. And their tight end is he's created a lot of big plays. Harold Fannin Jr., 619 yards, 4 touchdowns, athletic. So they have some playmakers. I'm not saying that. Jerry Jeudy caught a nice little skinny post pattern in the middle of the field, took it all the way for a long touchdown in the loss to the Tennessee Titans last week. The Bears, C.J. Gardner-Johnson gave up a slant to Christian Watson on a touchdown. So I don't know. I just think that if you're the Browns, you see opportunities as well. But I'll kind of end on this. I just look at these two teams, right? The Bears in the position that they are at 9-4. They have everything to play for. When you look at these last 4 regular season games, realistically, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if 11 wins gets you into the NFC postseason, which is insane to say. So you can't slip up here, because then you're only asking for a steeper hill to climb against Green Bay, San Francisco, and then your final game against Detroit. So you can't afford to lose this one. And that's why I think the Bears are going to win this game. For the Cleveland Browns, it's not that they're not playing for something, because at this point in the season, a lot of Bears seasons have been where the Browns have been at. There is a lot to play for. You're putting out tape. If you're Shedeur Sanders, you're stacking up good wins, good momentum to end this season. I don't know about the carryover into next year. I really don't even believe in that, but just how to end positively. So there's a lot to play for. For the coaches that are on that staff that probably will inevitably get fired, I mean, you're still coaching for your job to show that you could still do. There's still plenty to play for the Cleveland Browns. But I think for the Bears, it's just at a different level of extending your regular season into that playoff mentality. So you don't lose this game at home to the 4-win Cleveland Browns. Is that right? 3 wins. Sorry. 3-10. You don't do that. So and I'm not saying they need to win convincingly, but I just look at this as they should. And if this ends up being one of those fourth quarter games where it comes down to the very last minute, who cares? As long as the Bears get the win, that's all that truly matters. But this feels like, as one of the commenters earlier in the show, just feels like it's not going to be a nail biter. Like, you just know the Bears are in control. Look, I think Kevin Byard is somebody that can take advantage of a guy like Shedeur Sanders if he does make any errant passes. I think this is a really good matchup for Montez Sweat against the Oh man, that Browns offensive line has just been in flux, and I mean in flux. Who was it that put out? And I can find this because it was just tweeted out. But the Browns offensive line. Andrew Siciliano. Browns will be without 4 of their 5 starting O-line from week 1 on Sunday. That's insane. They're in a bad spot. Tevin Jenkins will be playing right guard. He's back. Their right tackle. I think Montez Sweat has a favorable matchup there. A very favorable matchup. So I like those opportunities. Ozzy Trapillo, get ready. Myles Garrett, most times going to line up versus that right side, but he's someone that's flexible. He'll do that little crossover wherever he is in the middle of the field or, on the left side, but he's going to primarily line up opposite of the rookie. I know Ben Johnson knows that. I know Trapillo knows that. I know Caleb Williams knows that. The Bears know that. Everybody knows that in the stadium, but you just got to have a plan. Got to have a plan for it. And, he's probably, you can't also be discouraged if he does get his sack. Just don't let him break the record. Don't let him get 3 sacks in this game. Let him do that to some poor other quarterback. If Caleb can avoid some of those pressures, get the ball out quick. This is a game, too, where if Caleb goes play action, Myles Garrett has the speed to not only get around his block, but he will get you. If you do not turn your head around and find your outlet passer, you need to distribute that quickly. There was a bunch of times where I was watching Garrett get around the edge and Cam Ward barely gets the ball off, but he's doing that. He's getting the ball off. So you need to be quick with your decisions. Not so quick because I remember Cam Ward, they had a simulated pressure, and then the linebacker who was in the middle of the field went over to the right flat. Cam Ward did not see that at all, tried to hit the slant on the back end, gets intercepted. You need to be decisive with the throws, not doing them so sporadically, I guess. Just got to play a smart game. Smart game. One thing I will close on before I forget. Special teams for the Cleveland Browns. I asked Richard Hightower, and I'm blanking on the Browns punt returner, but he's put the ball on the ground a couple of times. I believe he's had 4 muffs, not completely losing the football, but put the ball on the ground. 4 muffs in the last 2 weeks. Lost 1 against the San Francisco 49ers. Against the Tennessee Titans, kind of bobbled the ball. They had a punt blocked against the Tennessee Titans, the Browns did. Special teams is an area where Richard Hightower, his unit, if they just play disciplined football, I think there's going to be opportunities for them to either make a big play happen or simply force the Browns to do something sporadic or erratic or whatever you want to say. So just be mindful. Know that you heard that from me on this Friday night. But I think, because I'm kind of getting some text here to get things going here. But those are just some thoughts. And you know what? I guess I was thinking of doing a video tomorrow, but I might as well not. I guess record prediction. I already see some in the chat here. I see our Bears winning 27-17. Excuse me. You know what? I'm kind of feeling that kind of similar vibe there, but let me think about this for 5 more seconds to finalize the exact score, because I have to give this to Scott Bear tomorrow to put in our prediction article at Marquee Sports Network. So I want it to be cohesive on both sides. 24-13 Bears. And I wanted to almost push this 27, but 24-13 Bears get their double-digit victory, 10-4. Browns go to, what would that be, 3-11? If I can math, 3-11. And then you're that much closer to postseason football, you guys. So 24-13. Bears are going to win this one. Like I said, I think in just convincing fashion. I may look like an idiot tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I guess I would have to wait till Sunday after the game to look like an idiot if it doesn't go that way and the Bears just somehow lose to the Browns. But take care of business. Take advantage of the clear matchups that the Bears are going to have advantages in. You know you're not going to have an advantage over Myles Garrett. Everyone knows that. That's all right. You still win a football game in a lot a lot more ways than just one specific matchup. But he is a game record. Don't let him be that on Sunday, where it's going to be frigid cold. Like I said, I want to be out there. I want to kind of experience the elements to see what it's like for a little bit. And then I'm going to get my ass up to the press box where it's nice and warm. But that's going to do it for this episode, you guys. Thanks for hanging out on your Friday night. There's plenty of other things to be doing. There's sports to be watched. There's people to hang out with. There's beverages to drink. So stay safe. Have a great weekend. And if you're going to the game, bundle up, bring the noise, and let's see what the Bears can do on Sunday against Cleveland Browns. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Nicholas Moreano Show. If you haven't already, on your way out, just give this show a like. Leave a comment with your score prediction. Prediction, anybody? X Factor? I didn't even get into those. Maybe I'll do a separate short tomorrow on some of those things for the game. Leave a comment. And then it's going to be like the day after tomorrow. Low key, it kind of is. If you haven't gassed up your cars, I think this is a good time to do that before everything just freezes. I have to tell my fiance that, honestly, because she never does it. But yeah, it's going to be really cold. Stay warm. Stay inside. Have a beer. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on Sunday after the Bears play the Cleveland Browns. Adios. Bend over to your right.
What the was that?
What's up, Bears fans?
People want to hear me talk.